to explained easily. Today we are going to learn about BCG Matrix in detail. BCG Matrix is known by several names like Growth Share Matrix, the Product Portfolio Matrix, the Boston Box, Boston Consulting Group Analysis, Portfolio Diagram. A chart was created by Bruce D. Henderson for the Boston Consulting Group in 1970 to help corporations to analyze their business units that as their product lines. Growth Share Matrix is a business tool which uses relative market share and industry growth rate factors to evaluate the potential of business brand portfolio and suggest further investment strategies. It classifies business portfolio into 4 categories based on industry attractiveness, that is the growth rate of that industry, and competitive position, that is the relative market share. These 2 dimensions reveal likely profitability of the business portfolio in terms of cash needed to support that unit and cash generated by it. The general purpose of the analysis is to help understand which brands the firm should invest in and which ones should be divested. Let's discuss about relative market share and market growth rate. Relative market share. Higher corporates' market share results in higher cash returns. This is because a firm that produces more benefits from higher economies of scale and experience curve, which results in higher profits. Nonetheless, it is worth to note that some firms may experience the same benefits with lower production outputs and lower market share. The y-axis usually denotes relative market share or cash generation. Market growth rate. High market growth rate means higher earnings and sometimes profits, but it also consumes lots of cash, which is used as investment to stimulate further growth. The x-axis generally denotes market growth rate or cash usage. There are 4 quadrants into which firms' brands are classified. Question marks. Ventures or startups usually start off as question marks. Question marks, or problem children, are businesses operating with a low market share in a high-growth market. They have the potential to gain market share and become stars, market leaders, eventually. If managed well, question marks will grow rapidly and thus consume a large amount of cash investments. If question marks do not succeed in becoming a market leader, they might degenerate into dogs when market growth declines after years of cash consumption. Question marks must therefore be analyzed carefully in order to determine whether they are worth the investment required to grow market share. Strategic choices to be followed are market penetration, market development, product development, divestiture. Stars. Stars are business units with a high market share, potentially market leaders, in a fast-growing industry. Stars generate large amounts of cash due to their high relative market share but also require large investments to fight competitors and maintain their growth rate. Successfully diversified companies should always have some stars in their portfolio in order to ensure future cash flows in the long term. Apart from the assurance that stars give for the future, they are also very good to have for your corporate's image. Strategic choices to be followed are vertical integration, horizontal integration, market penetration, market development, product development, cash cows. Eventually, after years of operating in the industry, market growth might decline and revenues stagnate. At this stage, your stars are likely to transform into cash cows, because they still have a large relative market share in a stagnating, mature market. Profits and cash flows are expected to be high because of the lower growth rate. Investments needed should also be low. Cash cows therefore typically generate cash in excess of the amount of cash needed to maintain the business. This excess cash is supposed to be milked from the cash cow for investments in other business units, stars and question marks. Cash cows ultimately bring balance and stability to a portfolio. Strategic choices to be followed are product development, diversification, divestiture, retrenchment. Dogs. Business units in a slow growth or declining market with a small relative market share are considered dogs. These units typically break even, they neither create nor consume a large amount of cash, and generate barely enough cash to maintain the business's market share. These businesses are therefore not so interesting for investors, since there is still money involved in these business units that could be used in units with more potential. Strategic choices to be followed are retrenchment, divestiture, liquidation. Question marks and stars are supposed to be funded with investments generated by cash cows. And dogs need to be divested or liquidated to free up cash with little potential and use it elsewhere. In the end, you will need a balanced portfolio of question marks, stars and cash cows to assure positive cash flows in the future. We can simply take the example of Apple to understand BCG Matrix in much better way. Apple iPhones are well-established products or brands with fantastic opportunities to generate large amount of return on investment. Apple iPhone would fit into star category. Apple is unknown in which direction its watches and television will go. They can turn into stars or end up as dogs. So it fits into question mark category. Apple iPads are well established and continuously produce cash. However, the growth opportunities are limited. Apple iPad would fit into the category of cash cows. Dogs are products which have little or no value. They are drain on resources and cash. Apple iPod would fit into this category. Some limitations of BCG Matrix include: high market share is not the only success factor. Market growth is not the only indicator for attractiveness of market. Sometimes dogs can even earn more cash as cash cows. Thanks for watching. Hit the like button and subscribe to my channel Explained Easily for more such videos. Have a great day.